Okay, let's enhance that processing table just a little bit. Go into the table, and all I'm going to do is really something a little change, make a very small change that will look quite different. Here's the input question. It was asking, do you want a hard copy? Okay, instead of just asking another input question after the first one, I'm going to do input popup. Input popup, then the same variable, where I'm going to take the answer and put it in this variable, and I'm going to, here's the message text of what I'm actually going to answer. All I've added was popup, which is going to pop up the input question to the middle of the screen, to the center of the screen. So let's go see what this looks like. If I say update, escape, bings, yes, everything looks hunky-dory. And now you see what it did? It put this question up in the middle of the screen, and it's waiting for my answer right next to the question mark. So I'll say, yes, I want a hard copy. And you hear my hard copy printing, and everything gets clear off the screen. But you may have noticed a bad thing happened. Two bad things happened. Update, escape. This says, does everything look hunky-dory? I say yes. Look, that question stays there at the bottom of the screen. Yucky, ucky. And it asks another question up at the top. We want to fix this. This doesn't look good. I mean, you want your programming to be nice and neat. As soon as that input question is answered, it should be cleared off the screen and then pop up this other question. The second bad thing that happened is that it's blinking the cursor right next to the question mark. I don't like that. I'm going to make it blink the cursor a little bit further over. So I'm going to break out of this. I'm going to go to the input table. I'm going to fix these things right away. The first one that I'm going to fix is the input pop-up that puts the question, the blinking cursor right next to the question mark. Just put a space here. Now the cursor is going to be blinking right here instead of right here. Okay, when it asks that question. The other thing is that the first input question, where we answered the question, yes, everything looks hunky-dory, so this was not true. It was not equal to a yes, or it would have restarted. So I did say yes, so it fell through to here, and it immediately put this pop-up on the screen. Before we do that, we want to clear that other input question away from the screen. The only reason it's clearing before was because we were done with the record and it had an end statement, and FilePro knows enough that you're going back to enter selection to clear up that bottom part of the screen for you. But in this case, we're not doing that. We're asking another question, so we want to clear it ourselves. So we're going to use the clear screen command, and we're going to clear screen line 23. That's where the input questions pop up as a default. I mean, that would pop up. That's where an input question, if you just ask a straight input question, it shows up on line 23 of a 24-line screen. So we're going to say clear screen 23, which is line 23, then ask that input pop-up question. Let's see if this fixed both of our little problems. Okay, hit B. Now I press update, escape. I say yes. That cleared. Then my pop-up came. We don't even know that FilePro did that, but it's kind of nice. And my question is now answering. I can hit a yes here. Yes, I want a hard copy. Okay. Now let's make one more enhancement. This is kind of a neat one. If I go back into the input table and I go to that, I'm going to press F9 and I'm going to go to HARD, hard. It's going to take me to the first time where the question hard is on the screen. Do you want a hard copy? Okay. Kind of neat. It's a pop-up here. I'm going to go to the end of this line. F9 was the search. It took me right to where I wanted to go. I'm going to go past this to the F7, taking the end of the field, end of this line, and that's good. And I'm going to put a spacer. I'm going to type the word default. Then after that, I'm going to put quote y quote. Now what this is going to do is default in as an answer a y. In other words, I generally want a hard copy. If I'm answering that question, I generally want a hard copy. So the immediate answer already put for the user there as a default is going to be a y. If I press, if I press escape, and I say yes to this, you notice that in that answer there, he already sees his y. All he has to do is hit enter. He doesn't have to press the y. Boy, that's really this is very nice when there are long answers like Pennsylvania. If Pennsylvania is the default answer to a question, you don't want to have them type Pennsylvania in all the time if they're most normally going to type Pennsylvania. This, I kind of cheated on you a little bit before. When I showed you the syntax for the input command, I went to INPUT and I got you the input command from long, long ago when, it's just the input command. If I press the next page, you then see that there is an input pop-up command, and the input pop-up command not only has a message, but that default and the optional value. By the way, I'll just tell you quickly, if I don't put a value, if I just write the word default, then the the value that gets put in there as a default will be the last value of that variable the input table is using, the input question is using. Yes, no. Remember I told you input questions always clear the variable they're using. Well, the input pop-up doesn't. Input pop-up, if you use the word default, will not clear that variable. It'll just use it over again. Whatever the last one was, however was last answered or used, whatever that value is set to, that would be the default if you don't type in a Y like we have done. Okay, this is a kind of a neat table. It's doing lots of things, and we're going to do a lot more shortly.